If you grew up watching The Karate Kid, you probably know the feeling of finishing it and then having trouble finding something that recreates the experience. Not a sequel necessarily, just another film that hits the same note. You know, the underdog kid, the wise mentor, the bully you want to see get his comeuppance, the love interest, the training montage you want to rewind, that specific combination of things. The problem is, most films that try to do what The Karate Kid does either miss the point entirely or are so obviously trying to copy it that it becomes distracting.
You have lost, Anthony Scott.
Not yet.
But there are a few out there that genuinely deliver on that promise. I've put together 5 of them. They're not all perfect films, some of them are a little rough around the edges. But if you're in the mood for that particular feeling, each one of these will give it to you, in their own unique ways. Only the Strong stars Mark Dacascos as a former Special Forces soldier who returns to his old high school in Miami. He persuades the principal to let him teach capoeira to 12 of the school's most at-risk students. The mentor-student dynamic works well here. Dacascos is magnetic in the role, and capoeira looks fantastic on screen. It's part martial art, part dance, and visually unlike almost anything else. The training sequences are a lot of fun, and while the story touches on some darker elements, the movie still lands firmly in that feel-good martial arts territory. One last fun detail. Iko Uwais has cited Only the Strong as one of his favorite martial arts films. Make of that what you will. Tarung Sarung is a 2020 Indonesian film that's often called the Indonesian Karate Kid. It doesn't hide that. Several references in the film openly suggest it's paying homage to the original. The setup is familiar. A spoiled rich kid is sent to the countryside, falls in love with an activist, gets in trouble with the local goon, and finds a mysterious mentor who teaches him a traditional martial art. In this case, the Mukasar Bugis art of, and I'll try to say this correctly, Siga Jang Laleng Lipa, an old Indonesian fighting discipline that involves 2 people fighting with knives inside a single sarong. What makes it worth the watch is how fully it commits to its own world. The martial art at the center of it is visually unlike anything we have in Western martial arts movies. The film has a warmth to it that a lot of modern Karate Kid takes try to replace with grit. And in case you hadn't noticed, that is Yayan Ruhian from the Raid movies, playing the mentor. A nice change of pace from Mad Dog. One small thing worth flagging, Tarung Sarung has mixed reviews, and part of that is down to some of its thematic qualities. The film integrates Islamic concepts and movements into its story and action, similar to the way The Karate Kid integrates Miyagi's pacifism. Without spoiling the ending, you can see that it's rooted in something genuinely sacred to the filmmakers. Whether that lands for you will depend on where you're coming from. For some viewers, it's a beautiful integration of faith and martial tradition. For others, it feels jarring. Never Back Down is essentially The Karate Kid for the MTV MMA generation. New kid in a new town gets humiliated publicly and finds a trainer who sees potential in him. He learns discipline the hard way and works towards a rematch. The structure is almost identical. What it has that most of these films don't is a genuinely good performance from Jimon Honsu as Jean-Claude, the trainer. He brings a stillness and a moral seriousness to the role that elevates the film above what it might have been. His scenes with Sean Faris have real weight, and his philosophy about fighting, when to fight, what it means to walk away, is more than you'd expect from a film like this. The MMA setting also gives it a visual energy that feels distinct from other Karate Kid clones. Don't get me wrong, this is still very much a mainstream film with commercial values, and it doesn't try to be anything more. But it's well made, it hits all the notes you're looking for, and Jimon Honsu is basically always worth watching.
When I say, who's the master? You say, Sho'nuff. Who's the master?
The Last Dragon is the most unique film on this list. It's set in 1980s Harlem with a Motown soundtrack produced by Berry Gordy. It's frequently very funny, and its central premise, a young martial artist searching for a legendary master so he can achieve the highest level of kung fu, and literally glow is one of the most wonderfully strange things in 80s cinema. And yet, it scratches the itch completely. Bruce Leroy is an underdog searching for a teacher. There's a villain who is genuinely threatening in the most theatrical kind of way. I'll actually go as far as saying that Sho'nuff, the Shogun of Harlem, is one of the great antagonists of the 80s. There's even time for a cute romance with pop star Vanity.
Do you think I'm a nasty girl?
If you haven't already seen it, you're in for something. There's really nothing else quite like it.
Who's the one and only master?
Sidekicks is my number one on this list. And yes, I'm aware that's a choice, one that some people disagree with. The film has a reputation as a cheap Chuck Norris vehicle for kids, and that reputation isn't entirely wrong. It is cheap. It is very much a vehicle for Chuck Norris, and it is absolutely made for kids. But here's the thing, it checks every single box on the list, and it does so with a sincerity that's hard not to like. Barry is a bullied, asthmatic kid who dreams of being besties with Chuck Norris. He finds a mentor in a local cook / kung fu master, played by Mako, who brings a quirky wisdom to the role, and Joe Piscopo is hilarious as the overly evil villain that's secretly, deeply jealous of Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris? Chuck Norris? I would kick his ass.
What pushes it to number one for me is the daydream element. Barry literally imagining himself as Chuck Norris's partner in old action movies. It's a more honest approach to what most films in this genre are doing. Sidekicks is about the gap between who you are and who you want to be. It just makes that gap literal, and then watches its protagonist close it. It's a silly film. It knows it's a silly film. But it earned its ending, and its ending will make you feel the way the Karate Kid's ending makes you feel. And isn't that the whole point of this list? Honourable Mentions. Showdown stars Billy Blanks and Ken Scott, who really gives it his all in this role. It's not a great film, but it is a sincere one. There's a theory that two cuts exist, a PG-13 and a rated R one. I've only watched the R-rated version, but I love it. It has such a wonderfully bizarre tonal range. Totally worth seeking out if you've exhausted the main list. No Retreat, No Surrender is a cult classic. A bullied karate student is mentored by the ghost of Bruce Lee. The film is rough around the edges, but the premise is so gloriously strange, and the spirit behind it is so earnest that it earns its place here. Also, it features a young Jean-Claude Van Damme paying his dues to Hollywood as a villain known as the Russian.
So, it is you, son, is it not?
Those are 5 films, plus 2 honorable mentions that should keep you busy if you've worn out your Karate Kid Blu-ray. If you've seen all of them already, let me know in the comments and tell me what I missed. More videos coming, subscribe if you want to see them. Thanks for watching.